What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to Play2Win with more than a coach, Mike Holmes here, where I focus on scholarship over emotionalism. And today I'm back with my series, I, Self is the Law That One Must Master. And I made my favorite part of it today that I want to share with you all. And it's the winning way to joy and happiness with the series, from the series, I, Self is the Law That One Must Master. And before we move on to my favorite part of the I Self is the Law One Must Master series, I want to do a quick recap of what I've been sharing with everyone. So first, the series we covered zodiacal energy, where we discussed the sun, moon, and rising or ascendant sign of one's individuality. Next, we covered one's zodiacal strengths and their ideal field of endeavor. Then we covered each ruling planet of each zodiac sign and its attributes. Next, we cover how to fill out one's birth chart and the three planes, which are the mind, soul, and physical plane, as well as we learned about the three selves, which are basic, conscious, and the true higher self. And lastly, we cover how to calculate one's life path number and the pros and cons of one's individual life path number as well. And so moving on from there, I wanted to, there's two questions that, I have in this part that I want people to spend some time with. One of these questions, I discovered, intuitively, like when I was going back to school to get my master's in counseling. Like I say, when I was doing that, I found out that wasn't the path for me. I did like 2 semesters of that, so I'm not a licensed counselor, but I did learn a lot of things with that. And so, during that time, we were doing labs. Like with my cohort, we were doing labs where we actually were doing counseling sessions with each other. That was part of the class. And so, just to share a quick story, at this one time, I was doing a counseling session with one of my classmates, and she was telling me about, her life and, the responsibilities and how it became overwhelming, just doing so many things for, her kids and husband and her family, and just listening to what she was saying, it came to me to ask her, like, hey, well, what makes you happy? Why are you doing all those things? What makes you happy? Have you been taking time to do the things that make you happy? And if you all could have been there, and you could have started look on her face, and then her eyes welling up with tears, and then she started crying. And so, that told me that, she's never been asked what makes her happy, or she forgot, getting lost in responsibilities and duties. She lost, her happiness. And then she began to tell me, like, she liked to bake, she liked to read, she liked to go out in nature. And so, I encouraged her that she needs to find, get back to those things, and to do that, she needs to get back to doing the things that make her happy, and then build, her responsibilities and duties around that, at least make some time for herself to be happy. And so that really stuck with me, and that's one of the questions that I ask a lot of people, just regular conversation when we get to talking. That's the first question. And then, like I say, with that being said, I wanted to ask you all who are listening, ask yourself that, what makes me happy and what brings me joy? And it's a powerful question. And like I said, I want you all to think about it psychologically when I really start breaking down this question, because if you sit up here and ask yourself what makes you happy, and you take the time to think about it, what makes you happy and what brings you joy, and you actually think about those things, psychologically, you are in a happy space. You are in a joyous space. And so if you spend more time thinking about those things, you'll spend more time in a happy and joyous state, mentally, right? So that's that part of the question, what makes you happy and what brings you joy? And the second question is, what is life causing you to ask for at this particular time of your existence? So, take some time with these questions. It's not a rush with this. You take your time and ask yourself, and allow, answers to come to you, or, to actually really think about it and write these things down. And so the next part is, like I said, it's just real quick, it's just a real quick video that I wanted to share these things. But it's very important because, like I say, now that you've become more aware of yourself, like say through the zodiac awareness, through the conscious self, through the planes, you've gotten in touch more with yourself, with your energy and things like that. Now you want to start putting that, your energy towards the things that really matter to you, which is your happiness and your joy and the things that you want. So you could be taking your time, money, and resources now, moving, putting everything towards the things that you really desire to do, or aiming to do, right? And so with that being said, the next thing is like, I realized that there are, usually when you're doing the research, through my research study, they say there's around 5 to 6 aspects of life, which I'll go real quick, but I came up with 7. Like I said, it's the Play2Win way. I came up with 7. And like I said, this is the Play2Win, winning ways to happiness and joy, or joy and happiness, however you want to look at it. So with that being said, so the first aspect of life is the mental / physical aspect of life. And so, you ask these questions, what makes you happy, what brings you joy mentally and physically, what has life caused you to ask for in this aspect of life at this particular time, right? And so, just an example, one of the things that you can mentally, desire is like to learn to train yourself to focus on the good in situations. That could be a mental thing, right? Because they say that, mentally, the mental affects the physical, like mentally thinking affects the body. So that's one of the things that you can do. You can focus on, you can be like, I want to focus on the good, or whatever it is for you. I'm just giving an example. That's the first aspect. So the second aspect is the spiritual, emotional aspect of life. And so you ask the same question. What makes you happy spiritually? What brings you joy spiritually? And what is life causing you to ask for at this particular time in this aspect of life, the spiritual and emotional? For example, it could be you would like to be more grateful. You would like to be more joyous. You would like to be more happy, in this aspect of life. So moving on, the third aspect of life is the monetary and the financial. So same thing, ask yourself, what will make me happy? What will bring me joy in this aspect of life? And then like, what is life causing you to ask for at this particular time in this aspect of life? So then we move on to the business / career aspect of life. And like I say, once again, I'm gonna keep going over the question, what makes you happy and what brings you joy in this aspect of life? And then what is life causing you to ask for at this particular time in the business / career aspect of life? And I like to interject here, like say you can go and look up your life path number because of my videos, or you can just look it up. You can add your number, add your birth date up, and then the number that you get, then you reduce it to the single number, and then whatever that is, that's the life path number. So you can have a life path 5 or a life path 6 or whatever. And then in that video on my channel, it discusses what are the ideal career paths for that number. And then you can also research it more on yourself. Next is the fifth aspect of life, which is the family aspect of life. What brings you joy, what makes you happy in this aspect of life, or what is life causing you to ask for at this particular time in the family aspect of life. And then moving from there, we have the sixth aspect of life, which is the social. And so you ask the same question once again, what makes me happy, what brings me joy in social aspect of life, and then what is life actually causing me to ask for at this particular time in the social aspect of life. And then last but not least is the seventh aspect of life, which is the recreation and relaxation, which I came up with, to Play2Win way. You know, what recreation makes you happy? What brings you joy? What relaxation method, or what things that relaxes you makes you happy and brings you joy? And then also with this, as far as that aspect of life, what is life causing you to ask for at this particular time of your existence in this aspect of life, right? And so that's my talk for today. And then, like I said, I just want to recap here. Like, the thing here is, like I say, we become more aware of our energy, the planes, our life path number and all that. So this particular, like I say, which is my favorite part, now it's about directing your energy, your time, your attention, your money, your resources toward your happiness and your joy, and the things that life has caused you to ask for. And like I say, this is not a rush. Take your time with this. And also, these things may change over time, and it's something to always come back and revisit. But like I say, this is something that I like to share. Like I say, it's part of I self is the law that one must master. Master yourself, and the things that make you happy and the things that bring you joy in your life. And that's all a part of mastering, oneself, one's individual self. And so with that being said, that is my talk for today. And like always, like my video, share my video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Peace, and play to win.